It's Wednesday, May 7th. A centuries-old tradition begins anew as cardinals prepare to enter the conclave today to elect a new pope. Escalating tensions, strikes launched by India against Pakistan has escalated a conflict between two nuclear powers.
Have you asked the president to stop calling Canada the 51st state?
Yes.
When did you ask him?
Today.
Not for sale. Prime Minister Mark Carney sending a clear message in his first face-to-face meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump.
End-to-end goes McDavid. Sets up Bouchard for a shot. Flattering shot off the stick. On the glove of him, and it caroms in.
Historic win. The Oilers getting their fifth straight playoff comeback win. No team has ever done that before. Stay with us, Canada. Your morning starts right now.
Connor Brown.
Good morning, Canada. Welcome to Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
Good morning. I'm Lindsey Deluce.
I'm Kelsey McEwen. Hope your day is off to a great start.
We've got lots of news. Let's start with the conclave to elect the next pope. The conclave starts this morning at the Vatican. So, more than 130 cardinals from all over the world who will pick the new pope gathered for a pre-conclave mass at St. Peter's Basilica. Later this morning, the cardinals will head into the Sistine Chapel and start the conclave in isolation. So here's how it will work. There will be one vote today. It takes a 2/3 majority to elect a new pope. So if you see black smoke coming out of that chimney, that means no new pope has been elected. More voting will happen tomorrow. White smoke means a new pope has been selected. But here's something to keep in mind. It has been centuries since a conclave ended on the first vote. There are 2 votes scheduled for tomorrow. Talks between Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump took a firm but friendly tone in their first face-to-face meeting.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale. And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
When you consider what Mr. Carney...
Prime Minister Carney making it clear Canadians aren't interested in Canada becoming the 51st state. During a press conference after, Prime Minister Carney confirmed he asked President Trump during their private meeting to stop making 51st state comments. The two leaders also both agreed CUSMA needs to be renegotiated, but a senior government official told reporters that could only come with the removal of U.S. tariffs on Canada. That is something President Trump says he's not going to do. Andrew Scheer will lead the Conservatives in the House when Parliament reconvenes later this month as Pierre Poilievre waits to earn his seat.
We expect that Mr. Carney will be true to his word. He has promised to call a by-election quickly so that Pierre can rejoin us in the House.
Conservative caucus made the decision Tuesday during their first meeting since the election loss. They've also voted to adopt the rules of the Reform Act, which lets them trigger a leadership review. The party did gain 24 seats in the federal election, but remain the official opposition party. Pierre Poilievre is planning to run in the rural Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot, with their MP, Damien Currick, agreeing to step aside for him. Well, the premiers of Alberta and Ontario are not seeing eye to eye on the idea of voting to separate from Canada.
I won't prejudge what issues citizens might want to put on the table, but that is up to citizens to decide.
This is a time to unite the country, not people saying, oh, I'm leaving the country, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Without mentioning anyone by name, Ontario Premier Doug Ford said unity is critical for Canada right now. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says her government isn't pushing for separation, but her government will put it to a vote as early as next year if there are enough signatures asking for a referendum. First Nations leaders in Alberta say separation is out of the question.
Talk of separation is really insanity, because there is no pathway to separation. You can have all the referendums you want.
Chiefs from more than a dozen First Nations held an emergency meeting yesterday to condemn any talk of separation. They warned the province does not have the authority to challenge their treaties with the Crown. Premier Smith says she expects treaty rights to be honored by any referendum question. Stellantis says the latest temporary layoff at their Windsor assembly plant is part of a transition to building 2026 models. But the union representing 4,500 workers are not buying it.
We know it is tariffs causing all the problems around the decisions they're making.
Adding to the list of frustrations for workers is the postponement of that third shift that was expected to launch at the plant this year. It would have boosted hiring, but those plans have now been kicked to next year. When workers return from the current one-week shutdown, they'll enter a new shift rotation schedule. For most of the next 3 months, only one shift will operate at a time. In a statement, Stellantis isn't blaming U.S. auto tariffs for the changes. Interesting. Pakistan is vowing to respond to a series of airstrikes launched from India. India confirming it launched missiles inside Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. 6 locations were attacked. Pakistan claims to have shot down 5 fighter jets from India. Pakistan also saying at least 26 people in the country were killed by Indian airstrikes. India's military says at least 10 civilians were killed by shelling. Tension between the 2 nuclear powers soared after dozens of tourists were killed in an attack in Kashmir. There will be a test of Canada's Alert Ready system today. So that sound will sound in every province and territory in the country except for Quebec. When the alert sounds, depending on where you live, the test is done every year to make sure the system works and to raise awareness. New rules around tipping are now in place in Quebec. So as of today, starting today, tipping options in the province must be calculated on the price before Quebec sales tax and the GST. Calculating tip options on the cost that includes tax is a common practice in the province by many merchants. And while this is nice for consumers, it could affect workers who will now likely see smaller tips if tipping patterns remain the same. The minimum wage for tipped workers in Quebec is $12.90 an hour. It was Connor Brown, not Connor McDavid, who put the icing on the cake in the Oilers game.
Minute 50 to go. Racing the other way, Brown. He's in. Brown! Score!
Brown scoring late to make it 4-2 Oilers. This win over Vegas, it made history with the win. They've set a league record with their 5th consecutive playoff comeback victory in a single playoffs. How about that? They trailed Vegas 2-0 early, rallied to score 4. So every team should know, don't count the Edmonton Oilers out. No. Alberta B-Man has built another tribute to local transit.
Transit people love it. They love what I do. I brought it over to the C-Bus headquarters. They were just amazed some of the details that I put onto it.
I bet. William Fong's latest project, most ambitious, I'm going to say, making a replica of the Burrard Pacific Breeze. Before now, he's done a modern SkyTrain, a replica original SkyTrain, transit buses, and streetcars. He hasn't decided what he's going to build next, but it's going to be amazing. Something that moves. Very cool.